Wednesday, March 5th, 2014. Welcome aboard. Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your host for the next 2 hours, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I'm a licensed naturopathic physician, and we talk today and every weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. Central Time about the wonders of holistic medicine, the undiscovered. Take you through on a tour through the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified holistic medicine, and we pull back the curtain on the outrageous, egregious failures given to the world by conventional medical therapeutics, a.k.a. the pharmaceutical industry and your MD. By the way, new number to call the show into to talk to me live. It's an 800 number. Well, all the 800 numbers are taken up. It's a toll-free number, 844-DR-Glidden, 844-DR-Glidden. How about that? That translates to 844-374-5433. 844-374-5433. That's 844-DR-Glidden. Check it out. Put it on your speed dial. That's the number to call to reach me live on this show today and every day. That's 844-374-5433. Now, let's talk about law. Holistic medicine is built upon immutable laws of nature, which holistic physicians have recorded and observed over millennia. Contemporary MD-directed allopathic reductionistic medicine is built upon whimsy. There are no laws which are at play, and this is why the MDs move the goalposts all of the time. First, they'll tell you that cholesterol is bad, and then they'll tell you that cholesterol is good, and then they'll tell you that this set of numbers represents high blood pressure, and then they change their mind and change it up. Then they'll tell you that type 2 diabetes is caused by this, that, or the other thing, and then they'll tell you that it's not. Then they'll tell you that the best way to cure yourself of an illness is to open up an artery or a vein and let the bad humors out, or stick a leech on the body, and then they change their mind. The MD's philosophy of healing is an anti-philosophy because it doesn't believe of healing, because it doesn't believe that such a thing is possible. The MDs are trained to believe that your body is an accidental evolutionary biochemical bag of crap, and that it's only a matter of time until something in the body goes awry, and then your only choice is to let the doctor march in with symptom-suppressive drugs to manage, override, and control the innate God-given workings of the human body. This is the fundamental difference. The MD does not believe a cure is possible. Holistic physicians attempt to cure all of the time. This is the single biggest difference between what MDs do, what they're trained in, and what every other holistic physician in the world is trained in. Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of the holistic school of thought of homeopathic medicine, wrote a wonderful book outlining the rules of the road for homeopathy based on observation and clinical experience, trying to understand the laws of nature. And I'm talking about immutable laws of nature. Laws are not subject to belief. For instance, gravity. You know, if you're gorked out of your mind on LSD, and you climb to the top of the Empire State Building, and you actually believe down to your bones, because of the effects of the drug, that you can fly, all of a sudden you stop believing in gravity. Or even if you don't know anything about gravity and you jump off the Empire State Building, you're going to fall to your death because gravity exists independent of your belief. Mathematics existed in Cro-Magnon days. 2 plus 2 was 4 before people knew how to count. Pi existed before people knew what the relationship between the radius and the circumference of a circle was and the diameter. It existed. Needs to be uncovered. Truths need to be uncovered. And there are truths which pervade the physical universe and pervade the workings of the human body, and holistic physicians attempt to discern, uncover, and record these truths. In The Organon of Medicine, Samuel Hahnemann's opus, the first paragraph, the very first law, the very first foundation, holistic homeopathic principle. The physician's high and only mission is to restore the sick to health. The physician's mission is to restore the sick to health. Well, this begs the question, what is health, right? If you don't know what health is, how can you possibly hope to restore somebody to that state? If you don't know where Nebraska is, how can you possibly give someone directions to how to get there? You can't. So you want to have fun with your MD? You want to have fun with a medical professional? You want to have fun with your psychiatrist? Ask them to define health. Ask them to define health. And watch their head spin. Watch them obfuscate. Watch them shuffle. Watch them make things up. Watch them get just a little embarrassed because they can't do it. The MDs are not trained in the definition of health. They're not. Therefore, it is impossible for them to lead you, me, or anybody else to that state because, in actuality, they do not believe that it exists. Health, like life, is an accident. Health, of course, according to the MD, is, an absence of disease. And it's only a matter of time until disease shows up. And then it's not the physician's duty to bring someone into a state of health because you can't prove a negative. It's the physician's job just to manage and suppress and control your symptoms. Health is a fiction, perhaps enjoyed by a small child for weeks or months at a time, and then it's all over but the crying baby. Well, this is a very interesting point to ponder. It's an interesting philosophy to understand and wrap your head around. If, in fact, it is the physician's duty to restore somebody to a state of health, then that physician better have a working knowledge of what it means to be healthy. Which, of course, begs the question, how do holistic physicians define health? Well, homeopathic physicians, and I define health as the following. Health is the ability of a living biological system to experience the stress of life and remain symptom-free in a state of dynamic equipoise. If you can experience the stress of life and remain symptom-free, you are exhibiting a state of health. I can't tell you how many people that have come to me, either in kind of a generic form, wanting just, generic boilerplate medical advice through the agency of this radio program or through longevity lectures, or actual patients that I've secured, when I had an active private practice. I still do have a private practice, but, it's secondary or tertiary to the bigger picture now of longevity. So, many hundreds, probably thousands, I've lost count. Undoubtedly, people will say, Doc, I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty healthy, but I've got this arthritis for 5 years. I've got a problem with blood pressure. I've got this eczematous condition. I've got constant chronic pain in my wrist, but I'm pretty healthy. I feel pretty good. I'm doing pretty good, Doc. I'm pretty healthy. And then they'll read me a laundry list of all of their symptoms. That's because people are not educated as to what health is. If you are experiencing a symptom, by definition, you are not healthy. Now, I'm going to read you something from a book entitled Lectures on Homeopathic Philosophy. This was written by one of the preeminent luminaries of homeopathic medicine in the 1800s, James Tyler Kent. This book was published by North Atlantic Books, the Homeopathic Educational Services in Berkeley, California. Lectures on Homeopathic Philosophy. Kent is talking about the relationship between symptoms and the genesis of disease. I want you to hear this through somebody else's mind and through somebody else's words other than mine. Again, a quote. Again, let's look at the nervous child. The child has wild dreams, twitching, restless sleep, nervous excitement, hysterical manifestations. But if we examine all the organs of the body, we will find nothing the matter with them. The sickness, however, which is present, if allowed to go uncured, will, in 20 or 30 years, result in tissue change. The organs will become affected, and then it will be said that the body is diseased. But the individual has been sick from the beginning. It is a question whether we will start out and consider the results of disease or begin at the beginning with the causes. If we have material ideas of disease, we will have material ideas of the means of cure. If we believe an organ is sick and alone constitutes the disease, we must feel that if we could remove the organ, we could cure the patient. A man who has an infected condition of the hand, then if we believe that only the hand is sick, we would think we had cured the patient by removing his hand. Say the hand is cancerous. According to this idea, it is cancerous in itself and from itself, and seeing he would later die from the cancer of his hand, we would conscientiously remove the hand and so cure the patient. For an eruption on the skin, we would use local means to stimulate the functions of the skin and make it heal. And believing the eruption had no cause behind it, we would conscientiously think that we had cured the patient. But this is reductio ad absurdum. That's Latin for nonsense. I should start using that one more often. Make me feel fancy schmancy, right? Abductio ad absurdum, and that's not a Harry Potter, spell, right? Sounds like it. Reductio ad absurdum, for nothing exists without a cause. The organs are not the man. The man is prior to the organs. From first to last is the order of sickness as well as the order of cure. From man to his organs and not from the organs to man. So, this is an interesting thing to talk about, right? If you are dealing with a strong and persistent symptom, by definition, your body has removed itself from a state of health. It's like the check engine light is on in the dashboard, and you need to recover your health, baby. And how are you going to do that? Stick around. I'm going to tell you after the break. So, back in the day, people used to think, or so legends say, that thunder and lightning were caused by Thor in Valhalla beating upon things with his hammer, right? That's actually not the cause of thunder and lightning, but people believed it to be so at a certain point in time, and they were all incorrect. I mean, before we knew about, microbes, people thought that there were bad humors inside the body, right? And nobody knew how they got in there, but they thought they were in the blood, and that's what you had to do to make people healthy. At least that's what the MDs thought. The homeopaths never thought such nonsense. But my point here is that we think certain things, not because they're true, but because collectively the society that we're in has all agreed that they're true. It's reality by consensus, right? Women aren't smart enough to vote. Well, everybody believed that at one point in time, and everybody was wrong. Oh, the earth is flat. Everybody believed that at one point in time, but everybody was wrong. And so it is with our education and understanding of the nature of disease and the human body. And the MDs have gotten this completely wrong. And this is why you need to avoid them, because they do not understand the nature of disease, and they have no earthly idea whatsoever about how to bring someone into a state of health. So I'm going to continue reading here from James Tyler Kent's Lectures on Homeopathic Philosophy. I quote, "It's the sole duty of the physician to heal the sick. It is not his sole duty to heal the results of sickness, but the sickness itself. When the person himself has been restored to health, there will be restored harmony in the tissues and in their activities. When the person himself has been restored to health, there will be restored harmony in the tissues and in the activities of the tissues. Then, the sole duty of the physician is to put in order the interior of the economy, the will and the understanding conjoined. Tissue changes are of the body and are the results of disease. They are not the disease." End quote. The asthma is not the disease. The enlarged heart is not the disease. The arthritic knee is not the disease. The ulcerated stomach is not the disease. They are the results of disease. They didn't just happen spontaneously. You wake up one morning and all of a sudden you got an ulcer in your stomach and it just happened for no reason whatsoever. There was a cause. But the MDs are not concerned with the cause. They're only concerned with managing the symptom, and they've got it wrong. They've thrown the baby out with the bathwater because they do not get it. They're not concerned with the cause, and they have mistaken the results of the disease with the disease process itself. It's nonsense. It's like the blind leading the blind. Again, I go on, and I'm going to finish up here in just a second. Please bear with me. This is important. Tissue changes, I quote, tissue changes are of the body and are the results of the disease. They are not the disease. Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathic medical science, once said, there are no diseases, only sick people. From which it is clear that Hahnemann understood that the diseases were but the grosser forms of the results. They were the appearance of the disease. There is first disorder of government, and this proceeds from within outward until we have pathological changes in the tissues. In the practice of medicine today, the idea that the inner workings of the body are not found and that tissue changes only are to be taken into account, end quote. What does this mean? This means that the holistic physician attempts to get to the root cause of what's causing the problem. The holistic physician doesn't try to just, remove the arthritic knee because there was some, and replace it with a titanium knee, brought to you by Pfizer. The holistic physician attempts to understand the cause of the arthritic condition and cut the cause off at the roots, eliminating the cause of the disease. MDs confuse tissue changes with the disease itself, and this is completely ass backwards. They've got it completely wrong. So this is why, right, MDs treat disease. You go to the MD, you get one treatment for your blood pressure. You get one treatment for your arthritic knee. You get one treatment for your insomnia, one treatment for your heartburn. They're not treating the real root cause of the disease. They're just dealing with the symptoms. That's all that they do. They're pharmacists who have been taught diagnostic techniques and given a medical license. That's what your MD is. They deliver drugs to suppress symptoms, to manage symptoms which are the results of the disease, and in so doing they leave the disease process unchecked. So guess what? Things get worse. You go straight to hell in a handbasket. That's why MD-directed medical treatment's the leading cause of death and bankruptcy in the United States. 844-374-5433. That's a new number. That's 844-DR-Glidden to talk to me live. A couple more things before we go to the phones, I think. Germany's up first. Your MD is not trained in medicine. Nobody is. MD is a vast domain. Your MD is trained in one small subset of medical science. It's referred to as allopathic reductionism. Allopathic reductionism believes that the human body is an evolutionary accident. It's a biochemical bag of chemicals, and it's only a matter of time until something goes wrong. And when something goes wrong, it's the MD's job It's the MD's job to treat your symptoms. It's the MD's job to treat the disease. They treat the stomach. They treat the blood pressure. They treat the knee. They give medicines which suppress the active symptoms of the body and which leave the root cause of the disease process unaffected. All they do is suppress and manage symptoms. The goal is not to cure anything because they do not believe that that is possible. The goal is simply to manage your symptoms. They attempt to affect the results of disease, not the cause of disease. The results of disease, not the cause of disease. The holistic physician, on the other hand, I don't care what they are. I don't care if they're an Ayurvedic practitioner or a chiropractor, a homeopath, an acupuncturist, traditional Chinese medical doctor, a naturopathic physician. If they're holistic, they are trained in different methods, different ways up the mountain, which attempt to fix the cause of the illness and bring the person into a state of health. Now, who would you rather see? Someone who doesn't believe a cure is possible and who only treats the results of disease, or someone who believes a cure is possible and treats the causes of disease? Well, of course, everyone would rather go to the latter. Someone who attempts to treat the cause of disease and bring the person back into a state of health. But sadly, that's not what the MD does. But nobody knows this because it's a monopolized medical theater, and you haven't been schooled about this. You haven't been educated about this. You have no earthly idea how to do this. You have no earthly idea what these distinctions are, and so we're led into perdition by our lack of knowledge, because we trust that the MD knows what's best for us, but they only know how to suppress symptoms. They only know how to manage the results of the disease process, and they are completely blind as to the cause of disease. Completely blind to it. And this is the biggest mistake that we make, is bringing a sick body into the office of an MD. I mean, so what do in the holistic theater? Well, chiropractors adjust the thoracic vertebrae. They adjust the bony tissue of the body because it's the bony tissue which supports the nervous system. And the whole idea behind chiropractic medicine is when you optimize central nervous system function through manual adjustment of the spine, you optimize the power of the body to fix itself. Because the body wants to fix itself all of the time. An Ayurvedic practitioner will deliver herbs, the intention of which are to undo blockages in the body, which are keeping the body's inherent self-healing capacities from working. It's kind of like if your sink is clogged up, you got to get rid of the clog, right? You got to bring in the Drano. You got to get rid of the clog, or you're going to be in a world of hurt. Acupuncturists intend to treat the energetic pathways, the invisible energetic pathways of the body, which are regulating all of the unseen processes of the body, with acupuncture needles. The intention there, again, is to eliminate energy blockages, which are screwing up the soup. Not a bad idea. Holistic medical nutrition that we talk about on this program, the intention of which is simply and only to provide your body with the raw materials that it needs to fix itself, and then get the hell out of the way. Because the operative understanding of all of these holistic schools of thought is one single idea. It's actually a law. The human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body is attempting all of the time to bring itself back into an optimal state of health. And it is the physician's duty to assist the body in doing this, in whatever way they're trained in. Chiropractor does it one way, acupuncturist does it one way, homeopath does it one way, naturopath does it one way. The way that I talk about on this radio show mostly is science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. I have the easiest job in the world. I just tell you what to give your body so that it can work optimally, tell you how to stop gumming up the works, and then encourage you to get out of the way and let the body go to work. I mean, it's easy. All we do is set Willie free, baby. That's all we do. Free Willie. That's all we do. You let him out of the pen and let nature take its course. So this is very interesting, right? Your MD is not concerned with the cause of disease. Your MD is only trained to manage the results of disease, but because they're such an archaic, old-fashioned, out-of-touch profession, they actually have been enrolled to believe that what they do is the only thing possible and that they're actually the only true physicians in the world, and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack, when, in point of fact, it's the opposite. The only people selling snake oil have MD after their name. The only people practicing quack medicine have MD after their name. As God is my witness. Oh, and one of my pet peeves, right? The MDs will always tell you that homeopathic medicine is placebo because it can't possibly work because of the way that the medicines are prepared. That acupuncture has to be placebo because there's no diagnostic tool, there's no electronic tool that's ever been able to discern and discover and record and objectify the hidden energy pathways, the meridians of the body that the acupuncturists are managing with their acupuncture needles. And so because we don't have the technology yet to be able to see these things, therefore they don't exist, and therefore it's all hook'em. Well, I got news for you. You don't understand how gravity works either, but does that mean it doesn't exist? Not even Einstein could figure out what makes gravity work. There are a lot of different theories. Nobody knows what causes gravity. Nobody's dialed it in. There are theories, but nobody's figured it out. If you could figure it out, you could figure out how to stop its effects, and then we'd all have anti-gravity cars. Wouldn't that be great? One of these days, we're going to do that. But that doesn't mean that gravity doesn't exist just because we have no idea what causes it. There are 5 laws of homeopathy. 5 laws of homeopathy. One of the laws of homeopathy is what I just talked about, the nature of health and symptomology. It's the nature of health itself. One of the laws of homeopathy is how the medicines are prepared, and the way that a homeopath prepares his medicine bends the rules of physics. The way that a homeopath prepares the medicine that they give to sick people bends the rules of physics, and MDs scratch their heads and they think, oh, that can't possibly work, just because they don't understand the mechanism. They dismiss it because they don't understand it. They dismiss it because they don't understand it. And they never, ever, ever, ever have a conversation about the nature of disease itself, the nature of the healing process itself. They can't go there because they know if they did go there, they'd lose the argument, because theirs is a philosophy built upon shifting sands. I swear to God, I don't know who started all of this nonsense. But it is, it's inside out, it's upside down, it's, we're like Alice through the looking glass. Everything is backwards, run by madmen and madwomen. But because they're in the majority, we just all accept it as, par for the course, baby. Which is why I do this radio show. Believe me, I've got better things to do. I'd love to devote, I'd love to, raise millions of dollars for research and real holistic research and set up a holistic research foundation and really get some traction here. But, I'm doing this because there's a need. There's a need that must be filled. People are suffering needlessly simply because they don't know there are alternatives that have been developed and delivered by physicians, licensed and regulated physicians. How about that? Which actually support and promote the body's ability to optimize its health and recover, optimize its function and recover its health. Nobody knows what we know, and everybody needs to know what we know, and that's why I do what I do. That's why Dr. Wallach does what he does. At 74, he ain't going to stop until he keels over, and that ain't going to happen until he's 120. This is why longevity exists. We are forwarding a grassroots coalition of the informed. We are building a non-militant army, armed with knowledge bullets. Bullet points. Not bullets, but bullet points. How about that? Of knowledge. Look, you don't have to suffer with a chronic disease. There is a point of no return beyond which your body can't get on the other side of it, but I don't know where that is. Your medical doctor certainly doesn't know, doesn't even care where that is. Everybody needs to give medical nutrition a try, and the results that we get with medical nutrition often exceed your wildest expectations. If you've listened to this show long enough, you've heard the testimonials. I do not screen the calls. I have no idea what anybody's going to say before they get there live with me in real time. None of this is rehearsed, by the way. It's all as raw and as live as it gets, and we do that on purpose because that lends a certain authenticity to what we do. Now, you want to keep your head in the dark, go right ahead. And, it's a relatively free world, right? We still have free will. But when you hear the truth over and over and over and over, and people call in with results over and over and over and over, eventually, the better part of you is going to get the better part of you. Because what we talk about resonates with the better part of you, resonates with that source of vital force inside of you that knows right from wrong, that knows good from evil, that knows what's the right thing to do, and can appreciate the truth of the matter. You can't argue with a beautiful sunset. Even harder to argue with a beautiful sunrise, and that's what longevity is. It's a beautiful sunrise. That's all we do, is we just shine, baby, shine, and before you know it, our light is going to reach everybody in the world. And this is how we're going to change the world, one person at a time, one vital force at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in your life needs to know about this radio show. And did you know you can listen to the podcast for 24/7? I mean, you can listen to the podcast from any show that I've ever done whenever you want. It's all there in the library. Just check it out. GCNlive.com is the website of the radio program, and my website, well, you know what that is. It's easy. FireYourMDNow.com. If you forget it or can't remember it, just do a Google search for Dr. Glidden. I always pop up number one, and I got to tell you, it's good to be number one. We're going to Germany when we come back. Achtung, baby. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Today is the 5th day of March, 2014, and you are listening to Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. Big bada boom, baby. Knowledge is power. Healing is it's right around the corner. It is right around the corner. Let's go to Germany now and see what Gottfried is up to. Achtung, baby. Thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, Doc. How are you?
I am good, but I'll get better. Thanks for the call, Gottfried. It's always a pleasure talking to you. What's going on?
Thanks. Number one is that I just suggested that due to the problem with the powdered SOFX Plus, why not integrate the liquid or giving customers option to integrate the liquid SOFX Plus with the 2.0?
That's a great idea. I'm going to float that to the muckety mucks at Longevity and see whether or not that flies. Of course, Longevity being a big, it's a big organization, and it's a publicly traded company now. It's a corporation, and not all corporations are evil. Longevity is a good corporation, but because it's a corporation, there are economic guidelines that they have to go by. And so just because it's a great idea doesn't necessarily mean that the company's going to run with it, because there are all of these other financial considerations that people like you and I are completely blind to. So, it's a great idea. I'm going to float the idea, and we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed to see whether or not they take it up. I think there's enough interest in that, and I couldn't agree more. So keep your fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. So
the second one is a downline. After being on the product for a month, he has a lot of solutions to his eyes, to the peripheral neuropathy, but his sugar level is still not coming down.
Okay, so he's
very worried.
All right, well, so this is just where understanding comes into play, right? I don't know if you're a gardener, Gottfried, but in the springtime here in the Midwest, we plant gardens, and if I plant a tomato seed on April 1st, I'm not going to be eating a tomato on April 2nd. I'm not going to be eating a tomato until July sometime, right? So healing is a process. It takes time. I've seen blood sugar resolve in 2 weeks. I've seen it take 6 months to go away, right? But in the meantime, until the numbers budge, what we do anticipate and what we do expect and what we do look for, just to know that we're doing the right stuff, right? Because we don't want to waste time, is something specific and measurable that's positive somewhere. So if this guy is already getting positive results, with his vision or whatever, his sleep, his mood, his energy, his appetite, whatever, as long as something positive is at play, then all he needs to do is maintain the discipline and give his body a chance to bounce back. It's just it's a waiting game. And it's a completely different way. I mean, it's a very, very different way of dealing with a medical therapeutic than anybody is used to. We're so used to, right, going to the MD and popping a pill that suppresses the symptom, and 24 hours later, if not an hour later, we feel better, right?
Yeah.
That's not how this works, man. As long as positive results are at play, then he just has to maintain the discipline and give his body a chance.
Okie dokie.
Artichoke, you're the greatest, Gottfried. Call me anytime, brother. Keep up the good work in Germany.
Take care, Doc. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Our good friend Gottfried, he's really waving the flag in Germany. There's only a handful of people across the pond who have taken this upon themselves. We've got people in Cyprus. We've got people in London. We've got people in Singapore. We've got people in Germany. And there's one other place that escapes. Well, of course, Australia. So, we're spreading slowly, ladies and gentlemen. But you can't keep the truth under a bushel. You just can't. It's only a matter of time until this word leaks out. And then this is going to be a worldwide phenomenon. And it's going to happen in our lifetimes. And you heard it here first. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around. Hour 2 is coming up. And it's all phone calls all the time in Hour 2. Robert from Colorado was up next at the top of Hour 2. 844-374-5433. That's 844-Dr. Glidden. Give me a call and let's talk about health recovery with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition.